Good morning. Let me ask you a question that most people never stop to ask themselves. Why do some people rise to greatness while others, just as talented, stay stuck in place? Is it luck, timing, natural genius? No, it's something much simpler, much more within your control. The real secret to success is this: educate yourself every single day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I already went to school, or I read books sometimes, or I watch tutorials when I need to. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a daily commitment to growth, daily commitment to curiosity, a daily commitment to becoming a version of yourself than you were yesterday. See, education isn't a phase of life. It isn't a degree on the wall. It's a mindset. The most successful people in the world, whether in business, sports, innovation, or art, never stopped learning. They understood that the world changes fast, and if you're not learning, you're falling behind. Think about it. If you learn just one new idea, one new skill, or even one new perspective every single day, what would your life look like a year from now, a decade from now? You'd be unrecognizable. In the best possible way, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare. And education is preparation in its purest form. When you educate yourself daily, you decide you're not just gathering information. You're building resilience. You're sharpening your decision-making. You're expanding your imagination of what's possible. You are building the foundation of your future. And here's the truth that most people miss: your success will never outgrow your mindset. So if you want more influence, more opportunity, more fulfillment, it starts inside. It starts with what you choose to feed your mind every day. Read that chapter. Watch that lecture. Ask that question. Listen deeply. Think critically. Stay curious. Challenge your assumptions. The world doesn't need more people who know it all. The world needs more people who are willing to learn it all. So here is my challenge to you. Starting today, carve out 30 minutes a day. That's it. Not to scroll, not to drift, but to grow. Learn something new. Explore something unfamiliar. Sharpen something old. And do it every day without excuse. Because if you can do that, you won't just change your knowledge. You'll change your mindset. You'll change your confidence. You'll change your trajectory. Educate yourself daily. That is the secret to success. Now go unlock it. Imagine waking up one morning, realizing that the success you've been chasing isn't a distant dream, but something you could have been building every single day, step by step. Most people think success comes from grand, singular moments, that one big break, one lucky chance, or one perfect decision. If you decide, but what if I told you the real difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't luck or timing? It's the simple daily choice to grow a little bit more than you did yesterday. Growth is not a one-time event or a milestone to be crossed and then forgotten. It's a continuous, intentional act that happens every single day. Think about eating. We invest years in formal education, mastering the basics and acquiring knowledge, only to assume that once that chapter closes, the learning stops. But life isn't like school where you get a final grade and move on. The world around us is evolving constantly. New ideas, technologies, challenges, and opportunities arise daily. If you don't commit to educating yourself every day, even in small ways, you risk falling behind in this relentless pace. Every moment without learning is a moment where someone else is getting ahead. Now you might be thinking, I'm too busy. I don't have the time. But let's pause and really think about what that means. Busy with what? Is scrolling through social media or binge watching TV the only way you're spending your time? Imagine carving out just 15 or 30 minutes each day. Less than the time it takes to prepare a meal or commute somewhere, to feed your mind instead of mindlessly consuming content. That small daily investment compounds into a well of knowledge, skills, and ideas that will set you apart. This is the secret no one talks about. Success is a habit, not a moment. Every single day you have the chance to move forward or stay where you are. If you choose to educate yourself daily, decide you're signaling to your brain and your environment that you're serious about growth. That daily commitment rewires how you think about challenges. It shifts your mindset from, I can't, to, how can I? Over time, you'll notice your confidence grows, your decisions become clearer, and your ability to adapt skyrockets. This is not some abstract theory. It's backed by sciencing habits formed daily change brain patterns, making learning easier and more natural. On the other hand, neglecting daily learning creates a gap, a slow but steady erosion of your potential. It's like standing still on a moving walkway going backwards. Without daily education, your skills grow stale, your thinking rigid, and your chances of success diminish. The good news is you have complete control over this. You don't need a special degree or access to elite resources. With the abundance of information at your fingertips, books, podcasts, articles, videos, you can choose to grow at any moment. The question is, will you? Think about the people you admire most. Their stories rarely start with a single breakthrough. More often, they are stories of persistence and consistent learning. They read books, seek feedback, ask questions, and stay curious long after their formal education ended. What separates them from the crowd is not talent alone, but the daily discipline to learn something new, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. If you want to change the trajectory of your life, start by redefining what success means. It's not about sudden leaps, but steady, daily progress. Success is the result of a series of small, intentional decisions, choosing to educate yourself every day, no matter how busy, no matter how tired. Because aside in that commitment lies your greatest advantage. What if the single most powerful tool for unlocking your potential isn't a skill, a resource, or a connection, but a simple question? What if the secret to greatness begins with the willingness to ask, what else can I learn? Curiosity is often overlooked in our pursuit of success. You decide, yet it is the engine that drives innovation, creativity, and personal growth. The moment you stop asking questions, the moment you convince yourself you already know enough, you put a ceiling on your potential. But those who thrive, those who push boundaries and redefine what's possible, are the ones who cultivate curiosity like a superpower. Think about how a child interacts with the world. They ask. Why endlessly? Not because they doubt the answers they get, but because their hunger to understand is insatiable. This unrelenting curiosity propels them forward. They explore, experiment, fail, and try again without fear. Adults, on the other hand, often lose this natural instinct. We get comfortable with our routines, settle into fixed mindsets, and stop probing deeper. But what if, instead of shutting down curiosity, you decided to nurture it daily? Imagine how your perspective would change, how your problem-solving skills would sharpen, and how your confidence would soar. Curiosity forces you out of your comfort zone. It makes you seek out new experiences, meet different people, and explore unfamiliar ideas. When you're curious, you're not just passively absorbing information, you're actively engaged in the process of discovery. This active engagement rewires your brain, making you more adaptable and creative. Studies show that curious people are better at learning new information and are more open to change. That's critical in a world where adaptability is one of the most valuable traits you can have. But curiosity isn't just about asking questions. It's about the kind of questions you ask. Are you asking questions that challenge your assumptions, or just ones that confirm what you already believe? Are you seeking to understand opposing viewpoints, or only surrounding yourself with familiar opinions? True curiosity demands humility, the willingness to admit you don't know everything, and the courage to pursue knowledge even when it disrupts your comfort. This kind of curiosity transforms not only what you know, but who you become. There's a reason why some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from relentless questioning. From science to art to business, the leaders who dared to ask better questions created better answers. If you want to innovate, to lead, to excel, you must be someone who asks questions that matter. Not the superficial kind that pass the time, but the deep, challenging questions that force you to think differently and push boundaries. Curiosity also fuels resilience. When you view challenges as opportunities to learn rather than threats, setbacks lose their power to discourage you. Instead of fearing failure, you see it as feedback, data to inform your next step. This mindset shift is a game changer, and it starts with a curious heart and an open mind. Imagine what your life would look like if you approached every day with a question on your lips and an eagerness to discover the unknown. What problems would you solve? What connections would you make? How would your confidence and clarity grow when you know that every challenge is an invitation to learn more? Curiosity is not a trait reserved for the gifted. It's a choice available to anyone willing to embrace uncertainty and seek growth beyond what is comfortable or known. Have you ever wondered how seemingly small actions can lead to monumental changes? How a tiny ripple in a pond can eventually turn into a powerful wave? This principle applies perfectly to learning and personal growth. The truth is, success isn't the result of one dramatic breakthrough, but the cumulative effect of small, consistent improvements. It's the simple idea that if you improve just a little bit every day, over time those small steps add up to something extraordinary. This is the magic of compounding progress, and it's a secret weapon that anyone can harness. Think about it. Improving yourself by just 1% today might seem insignificant. 1% sounds so small that it barely feels worth the effort. But imagine what happens when you keep adding that 1% improvement day after day. After a week, a month, a year, those tiny gains don't just add up, they multiply exponentially. In fact, improving by 1% every day for a year makes you nearly 37 times better by the end of it. That's not a theory. It's simple math, but it's also a powerful mindset that separates those who succeed from those who don't. Most people underestimate the power of incremental change because they expect results. We live in a world of shortcuts and quick fixes, but meaningful growth doesn't work that way. It's not about dramatic transformations overnight. It's about steady, intentional progress that builds momentum over time. When you focus on small improvements, you reduce the overwhelming feeling of needing to change everything at once. Instead, you create a sustainable habit, one that naturally fits into your daily routine and gradually reshapes who you are. If you decide, what if the biggest barrier standing between you and your greatest potential isn't lack of talent or opportunity, but your own comfort? We all crave ease and familiarity. It's natural to seek out what feels safe and predictable. But comfort, as inviting as it is, can quietly become the enemy of growth. When you settle into what's easy, you stop stretching, stop learning, and ultimately stop moving forward. True growth, the kind that transforms your life and career, demands that you step beyond comfort and into the unknown. Consider this: when was the last time you felt truly challenged? Not just busy or distracted, but pushed outside your comfort zone to learn something new or tackle a problem that made you uncomfortable. That feeling of discomfort is often mistaken for something negative, but in reality, it's a signal that you're growing. It's the body and mind's way of telling you that you're stretching your limits, expanding your capabilities, and rewiring your brain for higher levels of performance. Comfort zones are deceptively alluring because they offer safety and predictability. Yet they come at a cost. Staying in your comfort zone means sticking to what you know, repeating the same routines, and avoiding the risks that come with growth. It's like living life with the brakes on. Progress slows, creativity stalls, and potential remains untapped. The problem is, comfort zones are comfortable precisely because they keep you from facing uncertainty, failure, or discomfort. But these are exactly the experiences necessary for true transformation. The people who achieve extraordinary success understand this principle intuitively. They don't seek comfort, they seek challenge. They deliberately put themselves in situations that stretch their skills, force them to learn new things, and sometimes even make them feel vulnerable. That discomfort is not a sign to retreat, but a signal to lean in harder. It's a sign that you're on the edge of growth. Growth requires risk. Whether it's trying a new approach, asking difficult questions, or exposing yourself to feedback, each step outside your comfort zone builds resilience and confidence. It trains you to handle uncertainty with grace, to embrace failure as a learning tool, and to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. The more you practice this, the more your comfort zone expands, and what once felt risky becomes familiar territory. There's also a psychological shift that happens when you consistently step beyond comfort. If you start to reframe discomfort not as pain or danger, but as progress and possibility. This mindset change is crucial because it turns what used to hold you back into fuel for your forward momentum. The more you experience growth through challenge, the less fear dictates your decisions. Imagine how your life would change if you sought out discomfort deliberately. What new skills would you develop? What new opportunities would open? How much faster would you grow if you stopped avoiding discomfort and started welcoming it as a sign you're moving in the right direction? This is the paradox of growing. It feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding, but that discomfort is exactly what makes the reward meaningful. Comfort can lull you into stagnation, but discomfort is the spark that ignites transformation. The choice is yours: stay safe and stay small, or step beyond comfort and grow into the person you were meant to become. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to consume information without actually changing anything? We live in an age where knowledge is more accessible than ever before. Books, podcasts, videos, articles, all at our fingertips. Yet the gap between knowing and doing remains vast. Simply acquiring knowledge isn't enough. The real transformation begins when you take action on what you've learned. Action is the proof of learning. It's the bridge that turns ideas into impact. Without action, knowledge remains inert, a collection of facts that never reaches its potential to change your life. Think about the countless times you've read something inspiring or heard a powerful idea only to file it away mentally without applying it. How often does that happen? It's easy to fall into the trap of passive learning, where you're content to absorb information, but hesitant to step into the discomfort of change. But learning without doing is like planting seeds and never watering them. You're missing out on the growth that could happen if you nurture those ideas through practice. Action validates your learning in ways that theory never can. When you apply new knowledge, you encounter real-world challenges and obstacles that force you to adapt and deepen your understanding. Mistakes become lessons, and feedback becomes fuel. This process turns abstract concepts into practical skills. It's in doing that your confidence builds, your abilities sharpen, and your mindset shifts from possibility to capability. Consider how different it feels to read about a new skill versus actually practicing it. Reading might spark interest or motivation, but only practice creates mastery. And mastery is not an endpoint. It's a continuous cycle of learning, applying, reflecting, and improving. The more you act, the more you learn, the better your actions become. This dynamic interplay is what propels growth forward. There's also a powerful psychological component to taking action. When you move from intention to execution, you create momentum. Momentum is a force that carries you through challenges and sustains motivation. Starting small is often the key. Taking a simple, concrete step toward applying what you've learned can break the inertia of procrastination. Even imperfect action is better than no action because it sets the wheels in motion.